What did you think after the pitch? I thought it was great, but again, you were going to get 3 more, so hard to say.
They blew everyone out of the water. So
honest feedback
honest
here.
feedback. They
blew everybody out of the water. Blew everybody out of the water. High praise.
Blew everybody away.
This is You Should Talk To, a podcast for busy marketing leaders who are looking for support and tips on getting shit done. In each episode, Daniel Weiner interviews marketing leaders and discusses their experience, successes, and failures around hiring agencies. If you're interested in finding and choosing the right agency partner, then let's jump in.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the You Should Talk To podcast. I am your host, Daniel Weiner. I'm also your sponsor until somebody gives me a pile of money. So, making people laugh already, Meghan. Super excited to be joined today by friend first from like 15 years ago, Meghan Irwin, who is the director of marketing at Blaze Pizza. Also joined by Meghan, hold up Jagger.
It's Mick Jagger, but we call him Jagger.
For those watching the video clip here, we've got a dog on the pod today, so super exciting. Meghan, we're going to dive right in. We're going to talk a lot today.
Perfect.
We're going to talk about RFPs. We're going to talk about all sorts of things. First, how
Are
do
we
we know?
Talk about our history? Yeah.
I was going to say maybe a quick intro and some inspiration to people about let's not burn any bridges. And you never know like how the world's going to work. Meghan and I met at Club Ivy, the Ivy for those in Atlanta. Maybe
R.I.P.
15, 16 years ago, Meghan was a bartender. I was, a frequent going outer and bar patron. And yeah, next thing we know, we're both in the marketing world. And 15, 16 years later, here we are on this podcast.
Did you ever calculate how much money I actually saved you by rarely charging you for drinks?
Meghan, that's neither here nor there, and that's inappropriate for the podcast. We're here to talk marketing, Let's do that. What is an unpopular opinion you have in the marketing world, or a hot take of sorts? The hotter, the better.
Me personally, I do not think email is dead. My ears burn when someone says email's dead. You aren't doing it right, or your creative really sucks, or your segmentation is off. I think it still is one of the most popular channels if you know how to do it right.
Do you think cold email is dead?
Oh, well, you know what I do think needs to be immediately dead is cold emailing in LinkedIn messaging.
We'll get to a whole fun portion of LinkedIn here. Actually, let's just do it now. What's your inbox look like? Horrifying? Terrifying?
It's horrifying. And, there are a few I do answer. It's very, very rare. But the majority of LinkedIn now has just become cold calling, and it's too much noise. I don't like it anymore.
I agree. Is there anything somebody can do as an agency who presumably wants to do business with you to break through the noise when you're not in market, when you're not looking, or is there anything somebody can say to get you? I know you have an incredibly packed schedule most days. Can somebody say something to stand out, or it's just not a thing for you?
When they've done their homework on me, and mention something personal, and not the fact that I went to the University of Georgia and I'm a huge Dogs fan. That's kind of table. Yeah, that's a common one now. It doesn't stand out anymore.
One of my favorite stories that's ever been told on this podcast was by Kaylin Staub, who is now CMO at Supply House, but at the time was CMO at Aaron's here in Atlanta, that she was sent an iPad, and I believe there was like a note that said like turn me on or whatever, and when she powered it on, it was the salesperson's face on video saying hi Kaylin and go Dogs. So a very common one to point out your alma mater, but no, that is a good PSA to agencies out there. You brought up email, which we'll talk a little bit about your career path, but you've had a journey. You've had both agency and brand side experience. You came from an email marketing agency at some point in your life. Tell us a little bit about like the career journey in general and the biggest shifts you've seen in consumer behavior along the way.
So I started out in the restaurant industry. After graduating college, I immediately interviewed for Waffle House, and I was their social media and events manager. And at the time, social was not big at all. I still think this is one of my funnest jobs. I would go in on my drive. I'd either be listening to Drake was really big at the time, or oh my God, Soldier Boy was still really big too. I would go and listen to whatever.
Speak for yourself, Megan. Still plenty big to me.
Still right.
Yeah.
But any music that inspired me that day, I would go into the office and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to utilize some of their lyrics, put a twist on it that includes waffles or hash browns or bacon. And that's my tweet for the day, or that's my post. It was so on the fly, but I remember the engagement we would get. And even the amount of like publications that would come and reach out of like, how did you think of this? Or I remember even like Time made a like Time 100 tweets of the year. And mine started with a waffle, now we're here. Like, how could that not be one of the top tweets of the time?
I can't believe I have one of Time Magazine's most influential social people on the podcast today.
So cool. Yeah, I'll give you my autograph later. And I did that for about 2 years, and I absolutely loved it, but knew I wanted more experience, and I was going to stay social, stay in marketing, stay on the brand side. So I actually ventured off onto the agency world, where I was doing social, and then got told one day, hey, our top person left and we need someone to be an account manager for our largest client. Do you want to do it? And that's how I got into account management world. And it was SkinCeuticals at the time. And it was when loyalty really just started. We were building out our own product recommendations. There was no AI to do it. It was so intriguing. And then I was even the customer service rep. When doctors would call to redeem their points, I'd be the one answering. Now I can't even imagine a company doing that. So I was on that agency side for, I think, about 2 years. Then I quit my job and backpacked Southeast Asia for 3 to 4 months. My family did not like it, didn't approve it, but I knew if I wanted to do something like this, I needed to do it now. Best experience ever. I dyed my hair black, volunteered every country I went to, and got so much life experience. I will always tell everybody, biggest opportunity to go travel the world. When I got back, I definitely had a hard time finding a job, of course, because I took so much time off. But this agency, Digital Additives, shout out to Roxana, Courtney, and Kevin. They took me in, and I was at this email agency for 5 years. It truly was the best experience, and I owe that agency where I am today. It kind of taught me how to write an email, how to do client relations, just all the little things that as you're growing up in your career, if you don't have a mentor to teach you, and on the brand side, we don't have time to do that. It's really hard to mentor a junior AE person. This agency taught me all of it. And I truly understood like how valuable email can be when you're doing it right. And then after that, I wanted to be back on the brand side. I was itching to feel like that Waffle House marketing waffles for fun again. So what did I do? Oh yeah, I totally forgot about this.
I was going to say, you waited for a text from me, no?
No, there was one agency in between.
Okay.
And it actually was, I kind of took a step back in my career because my dad at the time got really sick and I needed a caretake for him 3-4 days a week. So I needed a job that would be okay for me, one, working remotely nonstop, and then being able to take him to doctor's offices or take him out, grocery shopping, whatnot. So I went to a social agency, Social Moderation, which is, again, a really cool niche part of social. It's basically doing all the community management. I actually got to moderate for Coachella, which was awesome. I saw one of the coolest things. I got to see Harry Styles and Shania Twain perform before they actually came out. It was really cool. And then, of course, it actually aligned within the stars right around the time my dad passed. I got a text from you, Danny, saying, "Hey, I have a friend."
I was going to say, should I? I feel like I should take over this portion.
Yeah, you do.
While sitting at a bar with your boss, my friend slash colleague, I guess, and you should talk to supporter. It was the first time I'd ever met Casey, who is now currently the CMO at Blaze, which we'll talk about plenty. And he said, "Do you know anybody for this role?" And I believe I said, "Yeah, I think so. Let me shoot her a text." And you were like, "Yeah, I'd be interested." He said, "Great. Can she talk tomorrow?" And I think you were hired like 3 days later or something like that, or like a week
and
officially.
I remember this because I was in St. Simon's. My husband travels for work a lot, so try and tag along. I remember I was in St. Simon's and I took that call out on our patio, and I was like, I think this is what I'm interested in. I want to do this.
Crystal at the time, which was under Casey's purview for a bit, and you guys have followed each other around for a while now.
Yep, Crystal for a little bit, back on the restaurant side. Even during my agency stint, I was still doing restaurants. I feel like there's something born and bred in me of I love marketing food for a living. Did Crystal for a little bit. Then just similar to when I was at Waffle House, I've been taught by my dad, never say no, try new things. And I mean, he changed his career when he was 50. So I had an opportunity to go to the tech side. Didn't have tech on my resume, wanted to see what it was about. And it was also a startup. And I'll just say I am glad I took it because I now know I am not a startup and a tech person. I am born and bred to be on the brand side, which brings me to Blaze. And I've been here for going on a year and a half now. Started off contracting and then fully came on board being head of brand and media for Blaze.
I love it. What do you think, in your opinion, biggest factors I always like for food folks in a post-COVID world and or a pre-COVID versus post-COVID, just like consumer behavior around food and ordering, and you have more stuff to worry about and challenges, third-party delivery, all that stuff. What do you think the biggest shift in a post-COVID world is in your purview?
Because I'm in it, I would say third party has completely done a 180. Both my neighbors, I stalk them across the street. They are always getting. I mean, probably not. I don't stalk them, guys.
We'll cut this part out. You know,
the amount of times I see them order food is astonishing. I'm like, do you guys ever go out? You guys are always. It's either Uber Eats, DoorDash, or even Amazon delivery for their groceries. It has just become a nature of habit now. And it's table stakes for brands. I mean, for me, I don't order. I try not to order only because I know the markup of what we have to do on our end, and it's ridiculous.
What a good marketer you are, Megan, contributing back to the industry. I agree with you. I had it hasn't come out yet, but spoke to Anna Malmqvist, tough name to pronounce, Malmqvist, former CMO of Melting Pot. We just ran a RFP together that just came to fruition. We were talking about this in particular, about how it is just, different worlds, dine-in versus you guys being a little more casual. But it's just so hard to get people out of the house.
People have gotten lazy.
Everybody, myself included, we became hermits during, COVID and stuff. And I still enjoy going out. But, we talked about a big shift in restaurant being people eating earlier. One of the most sought after reservation times, I think Yelp just came out with it now. It's like 5:30 or 5:45. Some of the later reservation times, like 10 p.m., which used to be like the hot time in places like New York City. Restaurants aren't even staying open to accommodate for that because nobody comes. So, yeah, kind of wild.
Do you think that's also a factor from like the health perspective of eating earlier, starting the fast, or starting your metabolism?
Megan,
sooner?
I'll be the one asking questions. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
Yeah, I do. I mean, no, I've become significantly more into health and wellness and stuff like that. And yeah, I definitely eat earlier and try to eat healthier and stuff like that. But I just can't stay. I mean, I value sleep so much more, and I'm so much more of a monster the older I get if I don't get good sleep. So. Yeah, I mean, if I had I occasionally have like an 8 p.m. dinner for like work and stuff, and I have to have dinner first. That's second dinner. That's dessert.
Yeah.
That's like a whole other. 100%. Yeah, no. I mean, I think people also just have like leaned into more of who they are, and a lot of people are homebodies, so it's easier to, especially people with kids. My shout out to my brother and sister-in-law. Taking their 2 kids out, I think they enjoy, but it's a pain in the ass, packing the kids up, bringing a million things, the kids freaking out or maybe not liking the food and stuff. It's just easier, for a lot of people to do that. To that end, I'm curious, what's your best piece of advice to other marketing leaders about how to survive and thrive in 2026 and beyond?
Well, first one, you hit on it, sleep. Sleep is the most, I'm not even gonna lie, sleep is the most important thing. I hear people brag about, I got 4 hours of sleep, I was up all night working, I got 3 hours of sleep. Dude, I'm sorry. Sleep is the most important thing. It's good for your health. It's going to make you sharper. Take advantage of it.
I'm with you, Megan. We're going to get we're going to get some shit here as people without kids. Everyone's going to go, well, you guys don't have kids.
Well, that's our decision. That's our choice. We wanted. So don't hate us for it.
That's the spirit, Megan. I love it.
I have one more piece of advice, too.
Good. I'm glad.
As a female, too, I would say own it. We are taught to just go along with things, nod your head, say yes, no, don't really disagree. If you have something to say, stand by it, just own it. Same with like the clothes that you wear. If you think this is how you want to be portrayed, I wear loud things at work and I just own it. And people remember me for it.
Love it. Good advice. We'll dive into the fun portion of this podcast in particular. We just finished.
I'm already having a blast. Can we get a vodka kill kif, please?
I was gonna say, yeah, we can do whatever we want on this podcast, Megan, as host and sponsor. We just wrapped up your first RFP that you've, I would say, ran virtually by yourself. How do you feel?
Yeah.
Accomplished, I hope.
I feel really accomplished. It was awesome. It actually, for me, as your friend, it was awesome seeing you thrive in it and seeing everything. Because I know we did a little RFP when I was at Crystal for a web agency, but it was nothing like this. So it was honestly, it made me really happy to call you a friend and like, wow, all those free drinks meant something.
Thank you. Yeah, it was you got the full shebang on this process. This was a soup to nuts, I would say. We did the whole thing, whereas some of the stuff we did at Crystal was a little more, quick and dirty, I would say. But yeah, I
still feel like this is really fast. Like we were talking in June and July was, hey, we got to go, and it has to be done before I leave for a month, and all this stuff.
It was efficient. I'll give it that. I can move mountains to a certain degree, but I don't think it felt rushed. I would say that I would have pushed if I felt the timeline was too absurd, and I think all the agencies would agree. But I'll set the scene a little. Casey, we all talked, the three of us. Casey said, "I want to empower Megan to do this." He still had eyes on everything. He saw the RFP that we wrote together before it went out, but this was your child. The success and failure fell on you, and of course myself. But I'm curious. We started with a chemistry round, which to me incredibly important. So many brands skip it. I think it's a time for you to inject some life into a sometimes boring process. But I'm curious. That round we introduced you to 5. The goal was to pick 3. You ultimately picked 4. What did you think of that round in general, which was more just getting to know some people?
It was needed. If I didn't have that to begin with, I probably would have gone with the wrong agency, to be completely honest. You really got to see, okay, do I like this person as a person? Do they get along with me? Do they even have the right experience? From a restaurant and then a franchisee side, you have to make sure whatever agency, what partner you want to bring in, they can do both. And they have a track record for it. That was one thing from our old agency. Don't feel like they really had, or they said they did, and I never saw it. So I do feel like working so closely with our old agency made this process easier because I knew exactly what I did not want.
You articulated it well, I would say. It made it easier to introduce you to, I'm never worried about the relevance, but yeah, you have to make it work, and that's why chemistry is so important. So we moved from that round into, there was some work to be done in between. We put together shitload of resource documents and reference documents for the agencies, past creative, past media stuff, reports, all of that, which moved into, I think, another integral part of a media RFP, which is often only associated with creative, from my experience, of you can call it a tissue session, you can call it a working session, you can call it whatever you want, but it's a chance for agencies to show a little of their thinking and not get too far along, and for you to see some of it. I'm just curious, was that helpful for you, or do you think that was more helpful for the agencies? I know it was helpful for the agencies. I guess to rephrase it, was it helpful for you, or that could have been, kept out, in your opinion? I'm curious.
No, I think it was helpful because I got to see sooner rather than later how they process things and how they actually work. And I think I texted you after each of, wow, that was so different than what I was expecting. We had one agency who honestly did a mini pitch. I was a little kind of taken off because they didn't really talk a lot of like, where are you guys trying to go, or is this aligned? It was really just a pitch. And then I had another agency who truly went down deep into segmentation, because that was one of our pain points of we weren't utilizing our segments right. We now have a CDP. We need to start targeting the right audiences. So it was really cool, specifically those two, the complete opposite. And it honestly got me more chemistry time with them too. There were definitely a few folks I was like, I don't know if I could actually work with them. I like the company, but do I actually like that person? And I hate to say this, I love everybody. I'd never want to be, hey, you suck or whatnot. But when it's a company's money and your ass is on the line and you have goals to meet, you kind of have to be a little cutthroat.
I don't disagree. And anybody who reacts poorly about that from the agency side is probably not your agency to begin with, or an agency I would choose
Probably shouldn't be an agency.
I would probably not want to work with an agent. So serendipitous. I posted about that this morning on LinkedIn, actually, about how like brands that give agencies truly honest feedback, even if it's brutal, is helpful. It's the best thing a brand can do, rather than, a lot of times they're like, oh, it was a really close decision. And if it's not, you're better served, you're more helpful to that agency giving scathing feedback, even if they disagree with it. They don't have to agree with everything or even take it and change with it. But it's better to give, extremely negative, if it's the truth in your opinion, than neutral, just for the sake of, coming off.
And they don't learn anything from it.
I agree. We moved into the final round. We had one agency in Atlanta who didn't have to travel, and then we had 3 agencies who flew in for pitches. We did it over 2 days, I believe. We had 2 on each day. There were pastries, there was food, there was schmoozing, there was so much schmoozing going on for myself as well as the agencies. You had you and Casey and the rest of your team in the room. What are you about to say?
Can we even, you're like totally bypassing one of the most important things that happened during all of this. I got married.
Oh, yeah.
I went out. I was gone for a month, basically.
Because it was so non-traditional that I'm like, yes, Meghan left for a month to go to Europe. So the RFP was, not paused, but that was a time for agencies.
It kept
That's
going.
We did the tissue sessions right before that. Agencies then went, it went quiet, and there was like an option for a re-engagement meeting right after, just to get everybody's heads on straight. Then we moved into pitches.
And I will say, I think that was beneficial for the agencies, because they truly got a week of no one's bothering you, put your head down, work, and then you actually had another week if you needed, hey, one last gut check before you guys flew in. So you're welcome, guys. I did that on purpose.
We moved into the pitches. We're not going to talk about any of the agencies who lost. We will eventually speak about Bloom, who won, since there was a press release. It was the time of this recording that came out announcing it. Bloom went first. There's so much chatter about going first, going last. So since this is public now, we can talk. The agency that went first won. I know that there are some agencies who want to go first, some who want to go last. Just depends. But I'm curious, going into the pitches, What was going through your head? And talk me through that first pitch, since they ended up winning, but you hadn't seen the body of work of everybody else. Like, what did you think after the pitch? I thought it was great, but again, you were going to get 3 more, so hard to say.
They blew everyone out of the water. So
honest feedback here.
Honest feedback. They
blew everybody out of the water. Blew everybody out of the water. High praise.
Blew everybody away. Just so I will say, leading up, it was myself and Casey in these calls, and then for the pitches, we brought the broader marketing team, and then our COO to join as well. And Bloom came in. One, they brought pastries. You got to bring something. That is just an agency 101. Breakfast, lunch, or afternoon time. Bring something to your brand.
I haven't shown up empty-handed in a decade.
That's why you're still in business. But they were so professionally put together. I will say, and Bloom knows this, I don't know how they were towards the bottom tier, honestly, leading up to the pitch. I'm so happy we picked them. They were someone like you guys hadn't even really worked with before. They were,
Just to be clear, when you say bottom tier, you mean you didn't feel as much chemistry, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
you were never concerned about relevance
chemistry.
Or their ability to do the work. It was just, I don't know if I'm vibing with them as much as everybody else.
That's truly what it was. And we kept them because they had worked with our PE before, and we thought, hey, this would be a really big win for us if we did keep them. So we did, and thank you, Danny, for letting us have 4, because obviously they won. But when they came in, I mean, even to what they wore, it was coordinated, not in a cheesy way, but they all looked professional. They all looked like they wanted our business, and they knew it. No one was crying. No one was pick me, some Meredith Grey stuff. They knew their shit. They've been in the industry. They've been in multiple franchise brands, and it was just really awesome to hear their ideas and have that be the first thing. Even after they left, everyone was blown away of just, wow, that was one of the best pitches I've actually ever witnessed.
I would agree. Media is an interesting one, because media agencies who are listening may think I'm a dick for saying this. Media is a little boring, like creative. You get to see big ideas and tangible things. Media is a lot of like math and like targeting and data driven, and it's hard to inject a ton of personality often into media stuff. And I thought they did a good job. I'm going to push back. I don't believe that you knew that they were going to win after the first one, because I remember it wasn't. Yeah,
they were
you were like, oh, Danny, you did a really good job. They did great. I'm like, oh my God, I hope everybody does good. This is great.
I will say in the RFP, there may be like 3 or 4 things that had to be included. And I was the stickler, because at the end of the day, it was my job on the line if I brought in the wrong agency. So the rest of the team was able to be like, oh, they're wonderful. And did you actually do the RFP? Did you include the items that I needed you to? And there were a few pieces that they skimmed over really quickly, but I was able to have a call. And as we were just talking about honest feedback, I was able to have that with them. Like, hey, we really like you, but there's one area I didn't see you do as strongly in the pitch. Can we talk about that? Can I have more examples? And they were really receptive to it.
Yeah, I'd also say you did a good job, which not everybody does, and I can go either way on it. You took copious notes throughout the entire process after every single round about every single agency for you to review, which, some folks I work with want formal scorecards. Some do not. Some are more, vibey. Some find it difficult to take copious notes while also like simultaneously paying attention, which I know is difficult, which of course like recording meetings and AI transcriptions can help there. But I'm curious, did you go back after all pitches and like really dive into those notes?
Oh, I think after every call I had, I reviewed. And before I had a call with them again, I reviewed. And I will say I take copious notes because of my time at an agency. When you're forced to learn these things, I see people who just don't take notes and rely on AI. That's great. but what happens if you don't have internet, or what just happens if that file gets deleted? Still taking notes, you're ingrained to. Like, I feel like even that's how I used to learn in college of taking tests. I would write repetition over and over again.
I love it.
So yeah, my note taking definitely helped me, I will say, because I think we had two final like contestants, if you want to say, and I had to go back and.
Before you even do that with the two finalists, I'm just curious, without naming or shitting on any agencies, does anything like negative stand out about anything that like turned you off or that you liked even from the other, you know, positive or negative, just that stands out to you? Any other moments from the pitches? I can say personally for me, something that I think is cool, and it's hit or miss, a little bit of, you know, pitch theater. You know, one of the agencies brought like a prop, I would say, to show. It was a large pizza.
Interactive.
I didn't think it was cheesy, pun intended, for a pizza thing here. I thought that was done really well. I've seen stuff like that done poorly on the other side. I'm just curious, does anything stand out to you?
That stood out. It was done very, very well, of like the pieces of the pie. Loved that. I will say, in the pitch of how they actually talk and present, there were times where it felt like Meredith Grey, pick me, pick me, pick me. It came off a little bit too needy, as opposed to, you know what, the decision's in your hands. This is who our agency is. If you like us, great. You know, we'll get the work done. We know we'll make you successful. Don't beg for the decision. And then I had another one, which I actually, and this is complete opposite of what Bloom did. Bloom was extremely professional, but very conversational throughout. I had one agency who flat out was so conversational. They didn't even stand up and present. They talked to us like they had been our partner forever. And I appreciated that, because that was, to me, a huge chemistry check. We've already met this bond. They don't have to present and show off and have all their top people come. And I actually will say, this one agency, granted, they had a few people sick at the time, but they had two people, and then one person called in, and they owned that room. They didn't bring any higher leadership. Again, the pick me Meredith side of it. It was, this is what you get. We're part of your team. We're an extension of your team. That's what I like to say. And I truly felt that through their pitch.
I agree. I was nervous when only two people walked in and last minute, and with people sick and dialing in. But yeah, I would agree. You survived. You survived your first RFP. Just overall, any grand takeaways or tips for others that are about to embark on an RFP? I would say without me, truthfully. What are your tips for folks doing it themselves?
I wouldn't do it without you.
You're not allowed, of course. But truthfully, if somebody was about to do this and they're doing it internally as a brand, like, what's your biggest piece of advice?
I think one thing, what made it easier too, is you were granted, I know if they don't have you, you were an outside source who weren't so close to our media, to our goals, all the chaos that happened with our past agency. If I had to do it again, I honestly would ask somebody outside who's not in the day-to-day of media to actually kind of run it, project management, if you want to say that. So the person who's having to make the decision, or the team, can truly just focus on that, as opposed to, oh, I need an email to schedule all these meetings. Oh, I need to make sure I get them all the notes from prior meetings. Like, that aspect in itself, having you execute on, was probably one of the most helpful things throughout the whole thing.
Thank you. What are you most excited about in the marketing space at the moment?
Oh, what am I excited about? Okay, well, I'm just going to talk about Blaze and what I'm excited about. We're heading in a new direction, and for the first time in a while, everyone is really excited about where the brand can go. It's not like I have a huge marketing fund like other competitors do, but it's really cool culturally seeing everybody jump on board and say, yes, I want to be a part of this new Blaze experience. Like, right now, we're outlining or implementing a bunch of processes, and everyone's like, we're working on 4 promotions at the same time. It's chaos. We're building a car and driving it, and truly we are. But it is the community and energy around it is making it exciting and worth it. So I'm just really excited where Blaze will be at the end of the year. I'm sick of AI. I'm just going to say it. AI is used so much. I feel like any surveys that you do, any new vendors that come in, it's all about AI. Unless it's actually going to either make my day-to-day life easier or save money for me or the franchisees, I don't want to hear it.
I love it. What keeps you? It might be maybe the same answer, the chaos. But I'm curious, what keeps you up at night or stresses you out from a business standpoint?
Oh, that I dropped the ball on something all the time. Because we're working on
You're allowed to drop the ball sometimes, Megan. Everybody drops the
we're
ball.
working on so much. It's just like the nitty gritty things of, like, we have a photo shoot coming up into February, and it's coming up quicker than it should be. But is it, oh, did I get them the right stuff? Or, oh, did I miss an ingredient that has to be made during that day? It's little things, because you're moving so fast that at night I'm able to sit through and be like, okay, what did I actually send? Oh, did I do that? Oh crap, did I do it? Okay, no, I did. Or I have such a good team. I will say I have one coworker that we literally tag team. If she's like, oh, I forgot, I'm like, I got that for you. I already did it. And vice versa. So it is nice having kind of a work wife or a work husband. She is my work wife, to help balance that out.
Such a sick
What
feeling.
else keeps me up?
I was gonna say, it's such a sick feeling we all have. I'll randomly wake up at like 2 a.m. and be like, oh, email. Like, did I send that thing? Or like, I need to go make a note of this. I forgot to do this or something. It's a terrible feeling. I know everybody, for the most part, feels.
Oh yeah, another thing too. So late or early last year, I took over our marketing budget, managing that. I don't manage my personal budget nearly as good as managing this ad fund.
That's the right
And
answer. I was about to say, Megan, do not say this is going on the. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing with this.
Oh, that has definitely gotten me more wrinkles. I stress about money, where our money's going, making sure it's driving conversion, driving sales. And I've never, ever been that way. So that shift in me has been really interesting to like witness or experience. But I stress a lot about our marketing fund.
It's a big It's a big responsibility. Yeah. Of all the things to stress about, I would argue that's fair, and you should be stressing about that slightly.
I know.
We will finish with some fun questions I ask everybody. What was your very first job, like ever?
Okay, so I was actually talking to my husband about this. He's like, did you have a job in high school? I didn't have a job in high school. My first job wasn't until I graduated, because I danced like 5-6 nights a week. I was a dancer. I didn't have time for a job. So my first job was actually being a hostess at Chop House in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Love it.
But Danny, let's be real. The question should be, what was your funnest job? And
Right.
It was bartending at the Ivy.
What a place that establishment was. So many dreams were made and shattered in that building. I'm curious, what would your final meal be? You love food.
Oh, this is not at all what people are going to expect. But
Don't say
feel
if you say Blaze, I'm cutting the interview short.
No. Because I final meal, and I like to think of, like, if I'm stuck on an island, what would I like to eat off of, or
Sure.
what would I like to eat? Most random things: rice and teriyaki sauce or yum yum sauce,
Okay.
and then a tub of icing. Like, so random. I love a sweet tooth, and I love my sauces. Like, I remember telling you back in the Ivy days, like, I can diet, I can eat healthy. Sauces are one thing I can't give up.
You've got a lot of low-cal sauces now. Megan, you don't want to throw a protein in or anything? Just the.
Nope, just those.
All right, that's the new most different out there answer we've had on this. And then my final question, which I think I know the answer to: who is somebody who inspires you personally, professionally, or both?
I have two, and one have never said it out loud before, but
Well, I probably don't know that one then.
I will say, so that's actually, obviously my dad is
That's what I
one
thought you
who
were gonna
has
say.
inspired me. For those who don't know, he was 25 years older than my mom. So he was like 50 when he had me. He ended up passing when he was 93. And he worked up until the day he passed. Like his whole life was about his career. He changed careers when he was 50. So professionally, I do look up to him, or did look up to him, and still like, okay, what would my dad do in this case? Just because he had such an impressive career. And then somebody else who I will say personally is my husband. I know that's cheesy, but
Not
Tom
cheesy.
has,
Shout out Tom.
shout out to Tom. He has just, our life together has changed so much, and seeing him change for the better and change into the man that I always knew he was. I mean, shout out to him. He graduated from college last year, and not a master's, guys, a bachelor. He went back to school because he wanted to be the first in his family. That alone, seeing him do 2 years of schoolwork while holding a job, while being a dad, and then all the time trying to plan a elopement honeymoon with me, it was really impressive to see. And I'm just so proud of the choices he's made to get there.
Love it.
So if I want to bitch about something or complain, I really have to look at him and be like, you did all this at the same time. Like, I got to get my shit together.
Just send him this podcast once it comes out and be like, look at all the nice things I said about you.
I know, right? The only times I do. I'm just kidding.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining and filling us in more on the RFP process. Thank you, Jagger, for the guest appearance.
Yes, I'm sad this is already over. He's been sleeping. Are you good?
We'll do a follow up when we do our next RFP together. But
okay, perfect.
Real quick before we end, anything new from Blaze Pizza that people should go check out or try? Any new menu items?
Yes, right now we have a Proteinza. It's a high protein pizza with double chicken on our cauliflower crust, and I will say this till the day I die. Our cauliflower crust is one of the best I've ever had. I love trying everybody's different types of keto crust, cauliflower crust. Ours is exceptionally really, really good.
I would agree.
And then
it gets crunchy, which you need.
Yes, and then I will say I don't want to speak too soon, but we do have a new promotion coming out in March. That's a partnership with a series that will be coming out. So I'm really excited. That new pizza is probably my new favorite. It is so delicious.
Love it. Well, thank you for joining, and we'll be excited for that in March.
Thank you for checking out this episode of You Should Talk To. This show is brought to you by the company with the same name, You Should Talk To, a company that helps marketing leaders find the right agency or freelancer for their situation. If you enjoyed what you learned in this episode, make sure to follow You Should Talk To wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or visit YouShouldTalkTo.com for more information.